Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Cassie and this is the Newbie Book Tag. I have actually been making videos now for about 6 months or so, but still a newbie by newbie standards for sure. Still learning what's going on in this community. I absolutely love it. I have been following Booktube for a long time now. I hadn't taken the plunge until, like I said, about 6 months ago. So this is still very new for me. I'm still learning the ropes and meeting new people, which is great. So let's get into the tag. So the first question is, why did I start this channel? The first and foremost reason I started was to build my confidence. I just thought that working on videos, talking to myself would help me talk to other people and be more myself, and be a little more confident, hopefully, less awkward, because I can be quite awkward if I'm being honest. And then I also really just wanted to meet new people. I've been doing Bookstagram for a couple years now. I've met a lot of cool people on there, and I just thought this would be another way to meet some people and talk about books with said people. And in general, I just thought it'd be a nice creative outlet. I really don't have a lot of different ways to express my creativity. Long story short, be less awkward, make friends. There you go. The second question is, what unique things can I bring to BookTube? For this one, I would just generally say that my reading taste is rather diverse. I feel that I read, and I say I read pretty much anything, and I read a bit of everything, from fantasy and sci-fi to a good memoir, translated works, or LGBTQ books, diverse, authors or characters. I like short books preferably, but in general, I'll read any book. I've read high epic fantasy books as well, and series. So really, I would say my taste is kind of all over the place, and so when you come here, if you have varying taste as well, you're gonna find that here. Or maybe that's against me in some ways. I know some channels, are like, you go to this person because you're looking for romance. I know I do. Or if you're looking for this literary fiction channel, then there you go to that person. So I'm not probably gonna be that as much, but I'm definitely a mood reader, so it's gonna be very, it's gonna change with the tide type of thing. But because of that, I feel like I read a mix of all different walks of life. So I think that's good. I also read a lot of graphic novels, and I've been reading a lot of manga. So that's also, I feel, something positive about the channel, possibly, hopefully, and unique. Also, another unique thing about my channel is that you'll always hear or see animals. Here's a tail right there, and you probably heard my bulldog a little bit ago. So another thing you'll see, and if you've seen any of my previous videos I've posted so far, you'll see animals, so cats, dog. So you take what you get. That's where they're at. I don't put them away. The third question is, what am I most excited about? I definitely say I'm most excited about meeting new people and being able to talk about books with said people. It has been very cathartic so far, being able to nerd out, so to speak, and be able to have that outlet and talk about books I've been reading and loving. In day-to-day life, you can't just go up to everyone and do that. So I'm definitely enjoying being able to talk about what I'm reading all the time, and be able to talk to people that have the similar interests or learn about more books with people. So definitely meeting people and talking about books. As obvious of an answer that probably sounds like, but that really is what I'm most excited about. The next question is, why do I love reading? Simple answer, it's an escapism. Ever since I was a little kid, I was using books for escapism. I was a very anxious little child, and so I often would read at night when I was scared, or if I had to go stay the night at a family member's house or a friend's house, and I didn't like doing that, and being away from home or being afraid of the dark or whatever it was, I would pull out my book and read. So probably didn't help my insomnia, And generally speaking, I still have anxiety and probably insomnia. But kind of what got me going with the whole escapism. So that's why I love reading. So definitely to escape. The next question is what got me into reading? I would definitely attribute this probably to my parents. Sorry, bulldog. My mom and dad were always reading when I was growing up. I always saw them reading, even if it was, my dad was reading the newspaper, or they were both honestly always reading physical books. And then once Kindles came about, they were reading their Kindles. They were like first generation Kindles. So I always saw them reading. And then my older brother, one older brother, was also reading a lot. So I would attribute what got me into reading to that. I was read to a lot as a kid as well. And yeah, I think it just kind of sparked that interest in me when I knew that they were interested too. And we would all be sitting around like reading at times. So yeah, definitely. That's probably my answer. As far as specific books that got me into reading, just to go over a few, from my earlier memories that I remember reading on my own for the first time, I would say Magic Tree House books for sure, which developed into Animal Arc books, if you remember those. I went through I want to be a vet stage for sure at one point as a kid. And then that turned into Series of Unfortunate Events, which led to Harry Potter. I was reading Harry Potter, I think in 3rd grade is when I started reading Harry Potter. And then by middle school, Twilight, took off for me. And yeah, it just kind of got us to where we are today. That's for sure. So those are definitely some of the early days of Cassie as a child. Okay, the next question is, what challenges do you think you'll face with BookTube? Definitely, I can already tell starting so far that it's going to be like tech or editing type issues. I'm not the techiest person. I've never been. Technology annoys the crap out of me. Definitely would say that's number one, is editing, and just like if something's getting bogged down or not, like uploading, it just gets so frustrating sometimes. Also though, I feel like time restraints can be an issue. Just because I have a job, and then by the time I get home from work, I live in the Midwest, and it's going to be dark out after work, or I still have work to do. So I, don't want to work on editing because I have to finish my work, things like that, of course, that I'm sure everyone who doesn't do this like for a living would have an understanding of for sure. But also all of that to say I don't actually have a computer, so I will always be using either a tablet or my phone for filming. So that adds another layer of difficulty, especially with not only the video aspect, but editing too. So there's only so much you can do sometimes editing on a tablet or a phone. So that's another challenge I have awaiting me to come, but that's okay. I will take it day by day. Okay, the next question is, where do I like to read? If we're talking in the house, I like to read usually in a chair or on the couch. Our couch has recliners, or our chairs can recline, so that's the most comfortable for me. Or if I can like curl up somehow in that situation. Sometimes the bed. And then as far as not at home, I will read anywhere I can. In my car, I'll always bring my book. So if I have a doctor's appointment, or if I have a spare minute where I can sit in my car and read, or I go to a coffee shop. I love to read in a coffee shop. That's my fave, if possible. Definitely a good self-care moment for me. But also I would say audiobooks. I'm always wherever I can have an audiobook in. When I'm driving, I drive a lot for work, so I often am audiobooking it up. So for sure, audiobooks, they are a lifesaver. And then the last question is, what kind of books do I like to read? So I mentioned earlier I will read pretty much anything, which is true, but my most read genre is fantasy. Not necessarily does that mean it's like high fantasy, although I do read high fantasy. That's not my like drug of choice, so to speak. I would say more magical realism, urban fantasy. I've realized I love a good like portal fantasy, and like shorter books, and they can be like standalones. Like if I had to pick like my ideal book, it would be like a lighter fantasy, you know, very much like set in our world, but something's different, or something's magical about it. And if it's shorter and it's not in a series, that's usually like, that's the sweet spot. Yeah. But that's the end of this newbie book tag. I hope that you will, you know, come to the comments, say hi, chat about books that you love, anything that you related to that I mentioned. I just want to meet people and get to know everybody. That would be awesome, because that's what I really want to be on here for. That's what I'm trying to do, is build some genuine connections and talk about our love for books. So yeah, if you enjoyed though, if you could like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever. I don't know. I'm not good at this spiel yet. But with that, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good day and happy reading. Peace.